Hey everybody, how's everybody doing on this wonderful Thursday? On this wonderful Thursday cold day in Toronto, I got about -6 and probably about -10 with the wind chill right here right now. We got Shane in the house. Hey Shane, how's it going?
How you going? Good, thanks. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Glad that you were able to make it. So what kind
All
of day
good.
you looking at over there? Must be nice and sunny and warm.
It's still pretty muggy. I'm got a t-shirt and shorts on, but I think it looks like it was just raining a little bit as well. So, but it is summer here, and it's also Friday. So yeah, we're a little bit ahead of you guys over
Yeah,
there.
what's it like in the future, Shane?
Yeah, it is warm. That's how it is here. At least.
That's about it, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was gonna everybody's talking about NAMM these days because it's coming up next week, and you're not going, or are you going?
Nah, no, I'm not going to go.
Yeah. So, like, have you been in NAMM before?
Nah, it doesn't interest me. Like,
President. Okay.
one of the things I like doing least is interviewing companies about products that I don't ever intend on using or whatever. Look, occasionally if I go to the Melbourne Guitar Show and like something blows me away, and that's
Right.
just right down the road here, I might say, hey, tell us about your stuff. But I don't like doing that kind of thing. It's just filler. It's like sort of crap filler content, I reckon, on YouTube. And there's guys that already do it really well.
Right. Right.
And they're good at it and people enjoy it. And no one needs another person doing the same thing. And for me too, it'd be like a $3,000 round trip to promote other companies. You know, like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah. No, I hear
I
you.
don't. I don't really get any value out of that at all. So, yeah, it's never been like high on my list of things to do for YouTube. But I wouldn't mind checking it out just as a like walking around. I'd love to have a look, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it's my sort of thing. You know, in terms, I hate busy rooms too, man. Like, you know, that even our little Melbourne Guitar Show, it's probably like 1/50th of the size of NAMM. It's overbearing once it gets busy. Like
Yeah.
I hate being around that many people crammed into an area. Like it's just it's not really my sort of thing.
No, I totally hear you. No, I wasn't suggesting you go over there and shoot videos. I was asking more like just like you were saying,
Oh,
just
cool,
check
cool.
it out.
Yeah, I'd check it out, but I don't know if I'd want to stay like for 3 days or whatever. I think I'd just go, okay, have a quick couple of hours and get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we got 27 people in the house. Let me just say hello to the people we got in the chat. We got Todd Soda Pop. How are you? Will Varella's here. Rick Hefner. Will Varela. Hey, Paul Lou. Who else we got? We have Jeff Ripplinger. How are you, man? Rick Hefner. Stan Lee. Chuck Booth. Hey, man. Jason Wade is here.
Oh, cool.
Barney Murray. Got some new names in here. Welcome. Quinn James. Todd Flowers. David Ennis is here. How are you, David? Scott Nickerson. How's it going? Well, we got a lot of people. Dave Byron is here. Watchman for you. Nice to see you. Dave R's Guitars. The Guitar Pit is here. Hey, man. Randall Fisher. Wow, I'm sucking wind. Yeah, a lot of people jumped in here.
Yeah.
DV
Nice.
Ninja's here too. Cool. Cool. Yeah. So if anyone's got any questions for Shane or myself, Shane is in the chat, so you can put at Guitar Hack or at the in the Blues. Yeah. Yeah. I totally get what you're saying. Like, this NAMM in particular, I mean, everything I hear is that it's so crazy busy and you can't move and this and that. And I think I'd last about 15 minutes in that type of environment. So I'm like you in that. Like, I don't like that super crowded, can't move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would just drive me nuts. But actually,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do though, and I don't know, Shane, I don't know for you, is try to go to this. I'm actually trying to get to the summer one. And not as a YouTuber, I just want to check it out. It's
Yeah,
kind of
that's the one I would go to as well if I had an opportunity. If I'm already over there,
yeah,
I'd go to that one.
yeah.
But I'm not going to fly, 20, 30 hours to get to. Oh, not that long. But yeah, about 20 something hours to get there.
Yeah.
in total, you know, Melbourne to Sydney, Sydney to LA to go to a go to a show that's I'm gonna be out of pocket $3,000. Like it's not it doesn't make sense. So yeah, if I'm already on, like I might actually be in the US around that time. I'm not 100% certain what the year's going to bring, but if I'm over there already, then that's a good opportunity to go. If not, then it's I'm not going to make a special trip out there to go to NAMM. Yeah. I almost had an opportunity to go a few years back with a guy I know from who had a pass for it or something, but it unfortunately didn't work out time wise. I missed it by about a week.
Yeah. So, kind of hoping to do that. I know it happens at a time that I'm free to go, because the other thing is too, January for me. I mean, I can't get out of work for 4 days and get down there, so that's not really going to work out. Yeah. Well, we got 37 people in the house right now.
I just shared the live stream too, so hopefully a few more people will join. We'll see how we go. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, thanks so much for putting it up on your site. I got that this morning, so that was very cool. That was nice. 2 and 3 chord jams is here. Ed Dana is here. Lars Guitar, how are you? Yeah, a lot of new names. I guess they're more your subs. Lefty Mike is here. Apologize if I missed anyone. Chat's flying by pretty quick. Gussie Wells, hello all. Hey, Hack got my mug today. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Yeah, here's mine. Yeah, I've got
we just got thunderstorms happening here now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I can hear it through my headphones. That's crazy. Wow. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. No, I started another YouTuber sent me some designs for some merch, and I thought, okay, I mean, my channel's still pretty small, right? But I thought, and I'm not into the whole merch and that kind of thing, but so what I decided to do is any merch that I sell, I'm just going to take all the money and donate it to cancer. So,
wow, good stuff.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, people are starting to get their stuff now. So I'm getting emails. Here's what shirt I got. Mitch Heyman was nice enough to do a YouTube video. He's doing a fashion show with his shirt. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, nice. Good stuff.
Yeah, he's a good dude. A64 T-Bird is here. Okay. All right. Thanks for that message, Brian Cote. Thanks so much. Yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, if I can make it down there because the thing is, it's in Nashville too, and Nashville is, quite the city. I mean, they got a lot of really cool music stores in the city that, I'd like to check out. When you go, like you posted that video in Copenhagen when you're in that room with all the Gibsons and things, all stuff that you kind of look at and you can't touch. Just kind of, just take the memory of the guitar and leave.
Yeah. all that high end stuff that's just crazy expensive.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's Mitch Heyman now. How are you, Mitch? Yeah, so, gigging wise, have you got any, are you going to be doing one of those blues shows that you can record? You were mentioning something about that the other day.
Yeah, definitely. We've got it might be, it's sort of around what's the date? Around the 26th or 7th of this month, I think.
Oh, cool.
We're going to be shooting another one. Yeah, that's like a 3-day project.
I was going to say, that's a huge undertaking for you, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of work because I not only I want it to sound and look good, I mix the audio properly and then I master the audio, and then basically it's I got to sync it up and find the best bits and
right.
There's 4 or 5 cameras and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on, and that's just one of those sort of jobs that I like. I really enjoyed it, but I realized like it wasn't something I could knock out in a day. Once I started, I was like, oh, okay, so I got to just basically do all the audio first, sort of time stamp all the best bits, at least in my opinion. I actually left a few bits out, which I was kind of disappointed about, but I didn't want it to go for too long either. It's one of those things that could have just been an hour of playing, but no one would have sat around and watched that either. So,
well, I disagree with that. I think people would, because
maybe it just wasn't like The next one, I'm gonna change the theme a little bit. Like I might just do all original stuff, or
Right.
we'll do a mix of, maybe I'll do a set of my originals. Maybe Rick will do a set of his stuff. I've got another friend of mine, Byron, who sings better than all of us and arguably plays better than all of us.
Right, right.
And some people wouldn't argue that at all. He's a freak. So yeah, if we can get him on board too, you're in for a treat. That dude is just, Brian is just unbelievable.
Well,
yeah, that's all subjective stuff. Everyone likes different styles. He's very Robin Ford. He's got that kind of, kind of feel, and sort of like a jazz fusion blues kind of thing. But his execution's great, and he sings with a lot of attitude. It's
a lot of
he's the real deal.
Oh, that's cool. That was what was nice too about it is you had, I mean, you guys were playing, and you had Rick, and Rick is, I mean, Rick is I mean, you're a great player, and Rick is also a monster. But
Rick's great. Yeah, I mean, he's played with pros over the years too. That guy back before medical school, so he's not just a YouTube sort of, guitarist or local muso. He's played professional shows, so he's played with Tommy Emmanuel, and
wow, I didn't know.
Yeah. So he's done a lot of stuff over the years, and I don't think he doesn't brag about any of that stuff, but and the way his brain works too, he's got a photographic memory. So, and it's legit. We were listening to a song here the other day, one that I want to learn for doing just stuff in my band. I'm going to start doing some trio stuff this year too. And he was, I pressed play on Spotify, and he's like, all right, so it's this chord, this chord, this chord, and then the changes here, and he's spot on without even picking up a guitar. Like, he hears all the changes, and the chord shapes he translates to, the chord sounds he translates to shapes. It's pretty impressive.
That is very impressive.
If he's heard it, he can pretty much play it first go. If his hands can like accommodate it, because everyone's got different sort of.
So he can hear the chord. He knows what key and everything.
Yeah.
Well, he's got perfect pitch. That's insane, man.
He says sometimes he's off by like a semitone sometimes, but I haven't seen that to be the case yet. So wow. I mean, I don't go around testing the guy either, but there's times where we're like, I said, try play that melody line, and he's straight onto it without even having to find the right, like he'll just do it like a theme song to a TV show. He'll just work it out and do it right the first time. I actually videotaped I recorded a video of him playing King of the Hill theme for the first time. When he first heard it, he picked up his guitar and did it right straight away.
That's amazing.
No fumbles. It's pretty cool. He doesn't do it always like that, but generally, like, we're at a jam night and someone goes, do you know this song? And he's like, yeah. And he'll start playing it, and he's never played it before, and he'll get it right. He knows all the changes. It's a gift. I mean, he's not like that with everything, but he's got a huge recall for things he hears, and I think things that he reads as well. He's got like this crazy recall. He should be like autistic or something. Yeah, he's a bit of a gun. He's a great guy though. He seems like a good
dude. Yeah. And I mean, like, it's always cool too when you play with guys like that, because I mean, you find that when you're playing with somebody like a Rick, it kind of elevates your game.
Yeah, it depends what we're playing. Like, we both got very different tastes at the moment. He's loving the cover band stuff, like all the classic rock, and I hate playing that stuff. I don't mind it, right? But once you start writing your own tunes, the last thing you want to do is play a song to death that's been done to death. Like, I don't get any enjoyment out of really playing anything that doesn't have a sense of musical freedom on guitar. Like, I enjoy stuff that's got, I mean, look, some of these songs are pretty good. Like, we do I Don't Need No Doctor and stuff like that, which has got a really cool, part to solo over and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of bluesy and soul-y, but then he's got other songs that I would never play if it was my band. Like Hold the Line, and I'm like, oh man, really? Like, we're going to try this? And he's the only guy in the band that knows it properly, because of the way his brain works. So I kind of feel a bit sorry for him in a way. I asked him this ages ago. I said, does it ever like frustrate you playing with people that can't remember the songs a quarter as well as what you can? He's kind of like, yeah, it does. But he enjoys it. So that's what he said too.
Well, Ben Coombs is in here. Jason Wade's got a question for you.
Yep.
He's asking what you like to do when you're not YouTubing.
Well, one of my main things at the moment is I love going to the gym. I like trying to keep fit. I go for walks. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. I don't even mind going for a drive. You know, I mean, one of the things that I love doing is playing music too, like outside of the house. That's something that I much prefer to do than playing it at home. So every Sunday almost, I'm out playing live. It's not like a paid gig, but it's like one of our blues jams that I help organize from time to time as well. So that's good fun for me. I love traveling, man. Just, you know, lots of stuff. Even if it's just hanging out with friends, going down the beach. I've got a beach not far from where I lived, so
yeah.
I would say traveling weights and just jamming is kind of some of my fun stuff at the moment. I just like kind of trying to balance stuff out.
The gym thing, like, I mean, you have your other channel, your vlog channel that I watch as well. And yeah, you were talking about trying to get into shape or better shape before you hit 40.
Yeah, I got about 6 months left.
Yeah. Well, I got 12 years on you.
Oh wow, well, there you go.
And I kind of know where you're coming from because I made that decision, but about 10 years later than you did. But
no, that's all right. I mean, it's never too late, you know. It's just
no, you know, it's and I mean, I don't want to get too much away from the guitar stuff and the music stuff, but how long? When did you start? Like, how long have you been going like regularly?
2 years now. Yeah, the problem was too. There was a time where I couldn't go because I was kind of hurt for a bit, and then I also got sick, so I missed a good chunk of time in there, maybe 4 weeks all up, which isn't a lot, but it's enough sometimes to, you know, I got bronchitis a while back, and sometimes when you travel too, it's hard to find a gym that really does anything useful. So there were times where I didn't go, but I've really I think the biggest mistake I made was not, I mean, I was training consistently and all that, but I didn't understand the whole food side of it as well as I do now, like within the last sort of month. So now I think I've got it worked out. It's not easy eating as much food as you're supposed to eat to really get better results. But I don't care. I'm not really going after like trying to be big or anything. I just want to feel strong and look fit. You know, like that's the goal. I'm not trying to put on like heaps of size. That wasn't really the goal. But yeah, I think I need to eat more than what I was eating. And after looking at it the last sort of week or so, I go, oh, okay, now I realized what I was doing wrong.
You get it. Now, yeah. As I've been about 3 years, I've been doing it. And do you find, because you've been doing it for a couple of years, like if you remember back to say, you know, before you started, do you find now that you got like way more energy, like you just feel basically better?
Totally. Yeah. Even if it's something just as simple as putting an amp in the back of the car, you know, I can get I can lift these amps so easy now. And that was part of the reason I started, because I used to pick some amps up off the ground and my back would, you know, I'd have trouble with my back. Like the disc would bulge slightly, or, you know, I mean, I had back problems when I was younger too, which didn't help, but just overall feeling way better. Yeah. There's no question about it. And the better you eat too, the better you feel. And that's been my Achilles heel. I do get lazy, but when I get lazy with my food, I'm generally training the next day. So I'm not too OCD with it. I just want to get a balance in life, you know, between, you know, work and stuff and then exercising and just overall, I think it's just good for the mind, you know.
Yeah.
You go through your YouTube comments, then you go to the gym, and then you're happy again. It's good.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. David Ennis is here. Hey, David Ennis, how are you? Ben Coombs, nice to see you. Dennis Bro. Okay. Brian Fingerless Guitar. Hey, man. Well, we got 50 people in here. Terry, how are you, Terry?
Is that a new record?
What?
Is 51 the new record?
No.
Oh, okay, that's all right. That's all right. We'll see how we go.
I'll tell you. Listen, and this is the truth. I did a year-end show, well, a month ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you saw the year-end show. So you were the winner. You were the winner. In terms of the live streams, I had the most views is when I had you on the first time. So there you go. So that's
Yeah,
the record.
I think I
Pardon me?
share the video. Probably helps because I share the video. A
Oh,
lot
okay.
of guys probably won't bother with that. I like to share the.
No, no, it's awesome of you, man. Yeah, like I said earlier, you posting that this was gonna be you were gonna be on here, all of a sudden I started getting subs. It's like, wow, okay.
Oh, cool. Oh, there you go.
No, it was cool. Sonia's
I'm re-
here, 2 and 3 chord jams is
Oh,
here.
awesome.
Yeah, I got lots of people in here. So
Yeah, I recognize most of these names.
pardon me?
I recognize most of these names, not all
Oh
of them.
yeah.
Do I need to turn my mic up or is
No,
it
no,
all
I
right?
can hear you fine.
Okay.
Jack Daniels, there's a new name, 10101. How's it going? Oh, cool, man. I'm way, way behind.
We got Amanda's here, Terry, GG, and Gigi's here.
Better Kung Pao.
Hey,
Yeah,
awesome.
we should tag team on these names. KBT Guitar Covers. How are you? BB Ninja. How's it going? What's up? Oh, sorry, BB Ninja. Salut. Got to do the salute. What's up, Doc is here. Okay, I just saw Amanda Coombs. Yeah, if anyone's got any questions, you can post them to Shane at In the Blues, or you can post them to myself at Guitar Hack. Jeff Harper. There's another one. Showman Blues. Wow.
Quentin
Okay.
James is awake.
Yeah, Quentin. Yeah, well, you know what happened on Tuesday? This is kind of a funny story. So, I got that email from you that you were unable to make it, and so I wasn't going to bother doing a show on Tuesday. And then I got a message from Quentin, and he's like, "Hey, I can come on," and I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" Because I was not going to do a show. I even did a video saying I'm not doing a show. Like,
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
and then, like 2 hours later, it's like I went on with Quentin, and we had a blast. That was a lot of fun, man. That was good.
Sorry about that too, mate. I had a few too many things change schedule as well that day.
You know
I was like,
when you like, I don't want you coming on here and being stressed, man. I mean, and you said I got stuff going on, and I can 40-minute, 45, whatever it was, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Don't sweat it. Marco's Images is here and has a question. Shane, would you put that Tonker speaker in a Blues Deluxe, or do you think it sounds best in a Marshall as a Marshall speaker? Thanks.
You know what? It would probably work okay in a Blues Deluxe. It's a very safe sounding speaker, although it's loud and it's got heaps of clean headroom. It's not like it's not too. It's almost a generic speaker. Whereas I feel like the Texas Heat has a really unique sort of sound. Like it's a darker, fatter sound, and it rolls off a lot of treble. That would also work okay in the Blues Deluxe to some extent. I reckon the Tonka in there might be okay. I haven't tried it, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. If you're I still feel like out of the ones that I've tried in the Blues Deluxe, the Swamp Thing is probably going to stay in there, but the Tonka would be an interesting choice. I think it would work fine. But I haven't tried it. But I'm just from experience and knowing what I know about the difference between all three of those speakers, I don't think you'd have a problem with it. And because they're not too bass heavy either, is a really good choice for the Blues Deluxe, because I've played Blues Deluxe amps with a lot of speakers over the years. Creambacks are too bassy. You got to have the bass all the way down. I think the Tonka would be a really great fit for that amp. You'd have to. The thing is, though, anytime you change a speaker, you need to re-EQ your settings. You don't just set the amp up the same way you did prior. So start the whole EQ process again. And that's what I think is some of the problems with a lot of comparison videos. And this is something I only thought about recently was if you're comparing two speakers and you've got the same EQ settings, it's pointless because you never run two speakers the same way on the EQ. And I know through experience now with my Marshall, changing speakers in there a few times, and in my Blues Deluxe and Peavies, you never run the amps the same way, right? Because the inherent differences in the speaker completely make you re-EQ the amp and learn it again. So just go in with that approach as opposed to setting it up exactly the same way, and then you should get some good results. And it would make the amp louder and cleaner longer before it starts to break up.
Donnie Lovett is here. Hey, Donnie. Peter Brown, how are you? Michael Bishop, nice to see you. So 2 and 3 chord jams is asking, and it's actually, I asked this earlier, 2 and 3 chord jams. Any live videos of the crew for Shane coming up? You were saying that you were going to try and do something at the end of the month.
Yeah, I think around the 27th or something, we're going to try and lock it in.
Cool.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have another mate of mine join in as well. He's a great player, so we'll see how we go.
Screaming Anonymity is here. Oh, okay, thanks, Mitch. Mitch is asking if he says the picture looks good on my end, and you're pretty clear too there, Shane.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So getting back to that, so let me ask you, because you were mentioning earlier that you play with the trio as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm going to start doing that again. Yeah, I used to do that all the time, but then I got lazy.
This as a guitar player now, what do you prefer? Because I had this discussion before with someone else. Like, would you rather be the only guitar player, or do you like playing with, different guitarists? Like, what do you enjoy more?
Overall, I still like playing with another guitarist as long as they're way better than what I am.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. If they're not up to where I'm at as a live player, then it's generally a struggle town to some extent.
Right.
If they're a much better player, like if I'm playing with my friend Brian's the sort of like lead guy in my band at the moment. He runs rings around me in his own way. I mean, we've got very different styles, but the guy's a gun. Like, wait, this guy's just. Yeah, he's a freak, and having someone like that not only makes you play better, but it also makes the sound more interesting, right?
No,
so
totally.
people listening to it can go, "Well, fuck, this guy's good, but look at this guy," whatever. And then I don't have to stress too much about it either. So the good thing about having another guitarist in the band is you can kind of stop playing and just have a sing, and then you've got something happening. Or if you got the right other guitarist with you, there's still all the same dynamics too. So it just depends on who's playing with you. I think overall 2 guitars are more interesting than one, and we bounce a lot of licks and harmonies off each other as well. So we'll start something and then we're both playing it. Whereas a lot of guys don't really think like that. They've just got this guy does that, this guy does this, and that's it. Whereas we still try to keep the jam aspect of it alive when we play. And the advantage I had playing with Rick was because he remembers everything. I could even just hint at a harmony and he'd be on it, just straight away. And he knew from the last gig, the one I'd follow it up with right after without even having it's great. So, and he remembered, like, we recorded albums together too. So when we play together, like, I love what Brian brings, and he's more of an improv guy. He can remember parts, but Rick he's probably the best at remembering parts. So I think when we played and we actually recorded our songs, we knew exactly what parts we were playing, and it sounded arranged. Whereas now it sounds more, it's still songs, but it doesn't have the same arrangements. And people, I don't know, people might not even notice, but there's, when a song has parts that people are playing and other parts where they're not playing, for example, it just sounds more professional. It really does. But I still enjoy playing with some of these guys are obviously awesome too. So I'm not belittling them, but yeah, I think that dynamic Rick and I had for my original stuff was insane because we knew what parts we were playing, and it really made it stand out.
No, that sounds
fun. Yeah.
A 64 T-Bird is asking, I guess he asked this before. I'm just reading it for the first time. Question about responsibility to the products that you review and having them in a good light.
Oh, I don't think that's true. I mean, it just depends on the circumstance, really. Like, I've said this a number of times, like on my podcast, how I go about doing videos. I get stuff in that I'm genuinely interested in trying, and then I get stuff in that I know other people that are subscribed will like.
Right.
Right. So I look
Yeah.
at it from, because this is what I do now, right? I don't want to just say no to everything either if I'm not interested. So, for example, like fuzz pedals is something that I never use when I play live. I don't necessarily hear them as being a musical thing for the context of what I play ever. But I know there's a huge audience for fuzz pedals. So
people love fuzz.
I
Yeah.
still do them. And if they're from companies that I enjoy, like if some of the great companies I reckon make the best stuff in the world now, they're just Europe in general, man. Their pedals are just something else. So I'll get them in because I love what else they've done. And I'm hoping to find a fuzz pedal that just completely blows me away. And I found one last year that I actually pretty much liked for the first time, but I never used it live. So I do. I'm not going to negatively say bad things about a product that I necessarily wouldn't even use. So I just keep it open to, it's all subjective. Any review or any sound or guitar or tone is subjective to the listener, right? There's times where my opinion and experience is valid in a review saying this isn't as good as their old version because of this, right? And I've owned the old version and here's some context. If it's just a pedal and this is how it sounds, that's up to the person listening to basically make a decision whether they like it or not. It's not up to me to tell them that they should like it or not. And I see other guys do that where some guys are like, oh, this pedal's crap for whatever reason. And look, if it's faulty or it has a glitch, that's a whole different thing. But if it's a tone-based thing, everyone will like different things. Different age groups will like different things. Different styles of musician will like different things. So for those videos, I pretty much remain impartial. And I've mentioned this a lot. Like that's no secret that fuzz pedals aren't my favorite. So when I find one I like, I'm usually like, oh, wow, this is actually really good. You can see it. I kind of get lit up a bit about it. But there's so many that I play. And I'm like, I would never use this for the style of music I play. But it's in a box with 3 of their other pedals that I love. I'm still going to do a video on it. That's sort of how I look at it. But I've done, brutal reviews on stuff. And I've also done, if you go back through a lot of the videos I've done, especially over the last 12 months, I try to list the pros and cons of everything that I put on the channel. Some of, like even that Harley Benson T52, I listed what I didn't like about it, but overall it was a really positive experience. And for the price, man, like it's great. So I try to just give people like a player's perspective on it, as opposed to more people just the people that just go over specs and all that kind of crap. That doesn't relate to me if I'm wanting to buy something, unless it's a camera. But if it's a guitar and it's a functional thing that you play to make music, I just want to know how it plays. Are there any flaws?
Yeah, you can't hear specs.
Yeah. So I try to keep my reviews balanced, but I never go out and attack like any company unless I feel like I need to warn people that through experience of testing their older products or other products that this thing's a piece of junk. And that's when I'll do that. But I don't go out of my way to do those sort of videos unless something's really awful.
R2R3's in here. Hey, R2. Zach Thong. Thanks for popping in, folks. If I've missed your name, I apologize. We got 58 people.
Oh, cool.
So this is fantastic.
Barney Murray says, have I ever tried the Wilkinson guitars, the vintage ones? I've seen them. I've never seen a lefty. A mate of mine, Alex, has a couple of those, or he used to. But sorry, I did see that question pop up.
No worries. If you catch it and I miss it. 2 3/4 Jams has a question also. Does Shane ever use the Electro Harmonic C9? He did a review of it. I bought it.
No, it was a loaner, unfortunately. And in Australia, they're like $400. So no. Wow. Very cool though. The organ, they had the B9, I think, or the B7 or whatever it was, and the C9. They're pretty cool pedals.
Hey, John Parson. Oh, yeah, Dave Byron does these blues challenges, and he puts them out there, and YouTubers will, improvise leads over it. And he's asking, he's asking, hey, Shane, would love to hear what you can play to my friendly blues challenge. Bet you would rock. So,
all right, well, just email me at intheblues@outlook.com. Send me the details, and I'll check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, just there you go, Dave. Send him an email. Peter Brown. Okay. Just catching up. Okay, I'm actually caught up. Wow. Yeah, so again, if anyone's got any questions at In the Blues or at Guitar Hack, yeah, I'm totally with you on the fuzz. I've tried fuzzes, and the funny thing is, the last one I tried, it's like it was the Wampler Velvet fuzz, and
Oh yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
yeah, and they said, well, here's the fuzz for people that don't like fuzz. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, I like yourself, I don't have, you know, like it's not that it sounds bad, it's just I don't see
You'll never
myself.
use it.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to put it on my board.
No.
You know, I just went through a thing where I was thinking about getting another effects, getting a phaser pedal. So I bought a Phase 95, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, you got phase for days. Like, you know, it's a great pedal and it does the phase thing really, really well. And I thought, you know, okay, I'm going to buy that effect, and I threw that on the board. And you know, I took it to a couple of rehearsals, and I might have turned that thing on for about 45 seconds, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to find places to use the phase, but it's just going to sit there and take up space.
Yeah,
So
that's why you're absolutely right.
it goes back. You know, again, it's not a slight to the pedal. It's a great pedal. I didn't even have I was going to do a review of it. I didn't even have a long enough. I just took it back. You know.
Yeah, well, no, I'm the same. There's certain things I've thrown on my board and I just don't use it, so it comes off. The
Yeah.
amount of times I've decided to up my pedal board from a small, I think 4 or 5 pedal sideways board to like a 2-row thing, I've done that so many times, and I always go back because I'm like, well, I've only got one extra pedal on this huge board now, and I hardly use it, so I just take it off. I'm like, well, what am I? Yeah. If I don't use it, I get rid of it. And that's kind of like my motto for all gear at the moment. I'm going to be doing a massive downsize of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I've got. I'm not using much anymore, and it's just taking up floor space or
Well,
even stuff.
it's good to do a little, you know, reshuffle every once in a while, right?
Yep.
I just gotta. This question, this comment made me laugh. Marsman, hey Marsman, how are you? He says, "Boy, the governor looks lonely sitting all by itself on that shelf behind you." So I've got a right over there my Marshall governor pedal. You know,
I don't know
because
if I can see
you know, it's that. Have you played one of those?
I don't know. Actually, I don't think so.
All right, let me show it to you. Let me show it to you real quick.
Is it like a big silver thing?
Yeah, hang on.
Oh, I've seen those before. Yeah, I don't think I've actually tried one, but yeah.
You know, this thing is absolutely fantastic. And in Canada, this is under $100, so it'll be about the same in Australia, I imagine, right? Because our dollars equally bad, right? But it weighs a ton. The thing, like this thing, like I could if I threw this, I'd kill somebody. Like it weighs a ton.
yeah.
And but man, it sounds fantastic. It's just a great pedal. I just don't have it on my board right now because I've got I got actually another pedal that's also under $100. It's an Outlaw, Outlaw Effects, another very inexpensive pedal company.
Yeah,
and I've got the Deputy Marshall pedal on the board, and it's a mini pedal, which is nice because it takes up a little less real estate. So, you know, I like to swap things in and out and play with different things and try to get different tones and so on.
So you're running a distortion pedal into a Marshall, right? Is that how you're running that?
I basically, yeah. So I know you're not a fan of the Marshall Origin. I saw those reviews, but I don't have the.
It wasn't that they were bad. What my gripe was all the hype that went up to their release was completely unjustified. Like when I bought my DSL, I trusted my ear and I went, you know what, this is great. And everyone's like, oh, I should buy the Origin when it comes out because I heard through these people that it's going to be great. And for me, it wasn't the amp of choice at all. Like I don't mind their 50-watt one.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. The bigger ones sound better than the smaller ones.
Yeah, the 5 is the worst amp I've ever played in my life. I've never played an amp I like less than that. Even you know, $5 ones from Target or wherever, you know, Kmart, whatever you got over there. But you know,
Yeah.
that amp is awful. Like
Yeah.
it's just horrible. And the bigger one, the 20 was okay, but not loud enough to gig with, and the speaker struggled when you cranked it, which is what you want to do with a Marshall like that.
Right.
I just couldn't get into it. And
well, I don't have you tried the combos. I don't have the combo. I have the head.
Oh, I've said that a million times. I think the letdown is the box.
Yeah.
If you buy the head, you're laughing. You can put it in anything else you like. And
I'm running. I'm running that head. This is my rig, if you will. Okay. I'm running the head through a 212 cab with vintage 30s, and it sounds incredible.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be great. And Egnator was another brand that I tried. They made really poor quality cabinets. Great electronics, right?
Okay.
So if you could run if you bought their speaker boxes, they were terrible. If you ran, say, their head into a Fender or Marshall 212 or whatever, it was epic.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close, right? So
yeah, sometimes you're just better off getting like can you see my DSL behind me there?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got I have the original one
here too, man. Oh, awesome. Yeah.
I have the original one, and that amp was another one that got beat up. Like, oh, it sounds terrible. It's too harsh. This and that. Man, I've had that amp for I don't know, and I've done I don't know how many gigs with that amp. I love it. I think it sounds great, and I've never had a
speakers in that.
It's stock.
Okay.
I haven't swapped out the speaker, but it's been played so much that speaker is so worn in that it just sounds great. I'm really
like, I'm sure they've skimped on the speakers over the years, right?
Probably.
Yeah, so do you know what was in there from memory?
It's the 7080.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, wow, nice.
Yeah, I believe that's the one that's in there. And that's the one. I know people don't like that speaker. You know,
I think it just depends on what they're into. Overall, they're a bit like a safe choice. You know, those kind of speakers don't usually really do anything too magical in any particular way. They're just very, very safe, but they're loud enough. Like I got a 2x12 Marshall box now over here with 2 of those in there, and that was the first time I ever made a decision to go, wow, actually this 7080s sound pretty good in that configuration. So yeah,
over time when they work in, they sound a little better. Like I don't have nearly as much, like, you know, I mean, I'm not a speaker swapper, so to speak. So you got a lot more insight into that. Like I just go off what people say. Like when I bought the cab, the 212 cab, everyone was, you know, vintage 30s. It's sort of like the one size fits all speaker works kind of sound. You know, it's the safe choice, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And I really enjoy the sound of it. You were asking me what I like, what I do for sound. I basically, when I gig, my amp is pretty much a pedal platform.
Okay.
Even the DSL. I know you like using the crunch right off the amp. I don't do that. I throw pedals in front of everything. Like I've got 3 overdrive pedals that I have because you know, they're all different levels of overdrive. So I set the amp, and I learned this from the pedal show years ago. Is I'll set the amp just on the verge of breakup, you know, and then I set the EQ and everything else, and then I throw the pedals in front. It just makes it a lot easier for me because I got different levels of crunch, so to speak, and then, you know, then all the other stuff, the chorus and the reverbs and all that other
stuff. Cool. That's interesting. Like I haven't found a pedal that sounds better than the distortion channel on that Marshall on mine. Like I love it. Especially when you wind it up, and the only pedal I'll really run in off the floor is like just a volume boost, because you got 2 channels essentially, right? You've got you can set up at least these ones do. You got 2 identical. There's 4 channels, but there's 2 that are basically the same. There's 2 crunch channels. I sort of set one up louder than the other, or with more gain than the other, so I can just switch between them. And then if I ever need just more volume, I can click a volume boost in. So yeah, it's an interesting sort of way of looking at it. I would never have thought of using like a clean channel or whatever on a Marshall for pedals. It's just a strange thing, but cool. Yeah.
Here's the other strange thing. I had a Hot Rod Deluxe, okay, and I had one for a while, and I had a Marshall Hayes. Do you remember the Marshall Hayes?
Oh, it sounds familiar, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not too sure.
anyways, I had a Marshall. It was crap, and the DSL absolutely blew it away. So
Yeah.
I got rid of the Marshall Hayes. I kept the DSL, and then what I did was I bought a Hot Rod Deluxe. I swapped the Marshall Hayes for Hot. And the reason I got the Hot Rod Deluxe is everyone, and if you look online, oh, it's the best pedal platform, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. That Marshall blew the Hot Rod Deluxe away, and that's
wow. Okay.
controversial. But my pedals, when I played them through the Hot Rod, they sounded crap in comparison. It's like going from AM radio to FM radio, you know.
yeah. Nice.
It just sounded so bad and cheap and whatever. I'm like, what's wrong with these pedals? And then I would literally take the cord and plug it into the Marshall, and it's like they just come to life.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. You got a good sort of platform sorted out there. That's great, because one of the things I noticed when I go, like, I haven't been playing my Fender amp much live, and I took it out with my pedal board, and it sounded so much more refined and a little anemic with pedals as opposed to just running the Marshall.
Right.
Like it's a very different sound. So I think what you might be hearing, I mean, it's a nice sound. I love my Fender amp. I love running pedals into it, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's an attitude that comes along with the Marshall amp. That
I get what you're saying.
It's unique to its sort of to itself. And I've owned other amps like Yorkville Trainors and Hot Rods, and there is something unique about the Marshall sound. Yeah. I'll give it a go. I'll try running some pedals into it. But I did a test on YouTube maybe 6 months ago where I took my Fender amp with 3 distortion pedals and I put it up against the Marshall, and none of them sounded as good as the Marshall on its own, which really shocked me. I didn't expect that to be the case. Yeah. And as good is all subjective too. I mean, there's plenty of people that probably prefer the other sound too, but
yeah, like there's no right or wrong answer. I mean, even what order to put your pedals in. I mean, it's no right or wrong answer. It's just you got to experiment. Whatever works for you works for you.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, unfortunately, the bands that I play with are all cover bands. Okay. All I do is covers. And we talked about this before and how envious I was of you being able to just go out and jam with guys. I would love to do that. Absolutely would love it. But I don't have that opportunity, right? I mean, most weekends I'm, playing somewhere, whatever, right? And it's all covers. And I'm in different bands. And so I need a little more selection, so to speak. So that's why I do the 3 overdrive pedals. I got 1 overdrive pedal for a light overdrive, 1 for like a classic rock, and then 1 like an over the top. And it just, in the course of a night, when you're playing in a cover band, you got to like swap out, your sounds, bang, bang, bang. You can't have a big gap,
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
It's like, and I know, I mean, I've been doing it for so long. I know what to turn on, what to turn off. You know what I mean? To get that tone I need for that particular song. So
let me ask you a question too, because
sure,
I found this to be the case for me. I don't know if it is for everybody, but I haven't found a distortion pedal that I like as much as stacking 2 overdrives. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. You know what else sounds really good that I've done is throw a boost in front of an overdrive.
Yeah, that works great too.
That sounds good too. Yeah.
There's something about it. Like, I don't know if it's just the selection of distortion pedals I've had a chance to try over the last sort of 12 months, but I have no distortion pedals on my board. None. They always sound scooped or a little bit like they've got less attitude than running 2 overdrives at the same time. The only pedal that I can think of that I loved having a distortion on was the Jekyll and Hyde that had a distortion and an overdrive, but it was a really sort of fat sounding distortion. They stacked really well together. But yeah, I think two overdrives that complement each other work really well compared to just the distortion pedal on their own. I find that really limiting for whatever reason, and less.
I'm a big fan.
Different sound.
I'm a big fan, and I think you are too. And I mean, people get sick of me talking about it, but the Plimsoll.
Oh, that's a great pedal. Yeah.
That's like that. That's sort of my mainstay overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't use there's a hard clipping stage. I
Yeah,
don't
you
like
turn
that.
that off. Yeah,
I don't
just
like that. That's you're right. That's completely off. Yeah.
super glue it to the left, and you never use it again.
Pretty much, yeah. I
Yeah,
just use it's more of a crunch was what I use it for.
yeah, that was my main. I've told you, I think once before that
Yeah,
that was my main pedal for years.
yeah, I know.
I really liked it.
They're great. Craig Reckless is here. Hey man, Stan Lee, nice to see you. Base Hiroshima Nick. We got 61 people now. I think we've broken a record. Shane.
Oh, there we go. And only 45 thumbs up. What's going on?
Hey, Jack Daniels 10101. Guitar Hack, what do your set lists look like? I don't know if you have the same problem, but whenever anyone asks me what I can play, I go completely blank. Or what I play,
Yeah.
blank. I just blank. If I don't have the sheet in front of me. The best way to summarize it is, I guess, really classic rock would be it. You know, and it depends on the band that I'm with. Some, you know, I'll call out some band names: AC/DC, Journey, Van Halen. But then like some 80s stuff like Jesse's Girl and Jenny.
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, I know. You feel my pain, Shane.
You do April Sun in Cuba?
Pardon me?
Do you do April Sun in Cuba?
I don't know. I've never heard that song.
Oh, okay.
April Sun.
Maybe that's a April Sun in Cuba.
Maybe
that's an Aussie anthem. I'll have to double check that now. That gets played to death here.
I never heard that one.
Okay. Oh wow. Maybe that's more of an Australian anthem. That's interesting. Okay, no, that's good.
Pat Benatar, and then we do a fair amount of Canadian bands too. That
cool.
Outside of Canada, you probably wouldn't know, like Trooper or actually a band called Toronto, and I live in Toronto. They were named Toronto. So yeah, just stuff like that. Jason Wade's got a question. When you see this, oh, okay. He's letting me know how far back I am in the chat. Thanks, Jason. Oh, Dave. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you reading this off a phone, or if it's easier, I don't mind helping out. I got it on my screen over here.
Go at it. Dave Byron's asking, hey Shane, when it comes to inexpensive amps, would you favor the Fender Champion 100 over the Mustang GT?
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends what you need. Like, if you're looking for a clean platform, I'd probably buy the Champion 100. If you want something with lots of effects built in, then the Mustang would be the way to go. I don't know if I'd favor the Champion over it. It says 100 watts, but yeah, I don't know. They're good amps. I would buy a used PV Bandit. That would be my suggestion. No, seriously, it would kill both of those amps. Better clean channel. It'd be way louder, even though it's technically not 100 watts. It sounds more 3D in the mix if you're ever playing out live. Takes pedals better than both. You can, I would just buy a PV Bandit.
There you go. Picker Hat is here. Hey, Picker Hat. Nice to see you. Okay, I'm just trying to catch. Okay, I am at the end of the chat. Rick Hefner is here. Hey, Rick. Yeah, so again, if anyone has any questions, please at intheblues or put at Guitar Hack, because with 60 people watching, it's real hard to catch up. So there you go.
Mate, 60's easy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I forgot who I was talking to. You're like, what are you? I was watching your live stream the other. Well, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when I was watching you, I think you were up around 120 or 30 or something like that. I'm like, wow, man.
You gotta get your screen sorted out, mate, so you can just sort of see what's going on a separate monitor.
I'm working on that. I just you're gonna laugh because you know how backwards. Remember last time we were on? I mean, I think I'm a little better now than I was then.
Yeah. That's all good.
Yeah, I'm actually working on the whole OBS thing.
And good.
Yeah, and I might be doing the OBS thing. I was thinking about doing today with you, but I didn't want to take a chance.
Yeah, all right. So it won't work if we're doing this. It only works if you're on your own.
Okay, but
if you're on your own, look, there's a way you could probably do it, but to get OBS to work with this kind of setup is so much more complicated.
Oh, really? Okay.
So just if you're doing a hangout with a guest, use the same thing we set up today.
Right.
If you're going live on your own, use OBS. It will look way better. You can set your resolution to 1080p or whatever your max resolution is, and you can set your upload speed so it kind of conforms to it. It just will look better.
Yeah,
you can do a lot more with it. So yeah, if you need a hand, just let us know too, because there's a couple of videos that were really helpful for me to work out what was going on when I first started. I was like, what am I doing here?
Well, we both know, and he's in the chat, Jason Wade. He's kind of my tutor.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Cool.
Well, he's a great guy, and he's been really helping me out a lot. So I really appreciate that. So man, you've been popping up with different guitars. Like every time I see you, you've got that onion. You roughed up that one Telecaster. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I thought, why not? I've always wanted to do that, and I knew it'd be pretty.
But it looks cool, man. It turned out really, really cool.
It's great. It's funny. Like I took it out to the jam a couple of weeks after. Oh, that week I did it. After there was 2 videos, right? The second one, I just showed basically how it ended up once I stained the wood and all that kind of stuff. But I compared it to actual relic guitars in the end. Wasn't a lot of difference. I mean, you know, in the end, once I finally finalized it, but yeah, it was good fun to do that. Actually, it was cool. And I got a message from one of the guys from Toman who's doing it to his as well. So I don't know if he's going to do a video or not, but a few people had said, "Oh, you've inspired me to sort of butcher my guitars." Like, yeah, give it a go if it's nothing that you can't replace.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, it's an inexpensive guitar, so sure, go to town. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't do it to some of my nicer guitars. There's no way. But it was fun. It was a good learning experience.
No. So you were saying you wanted to scale back a little bit. What guitar-wise, is there anything that you're wanting to? I mean, how many are you up to right now? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't. Look, it's not crazy. Like it'd be around 12, maybe 13 if you include the acoustic guitar. So I've got one acoustic guitar. It's definitely got to go. I've got a couple of electric guitars I'm not really using a lot. I've just got to make some decisions and move some things on. And there's some I'm going to keep. I got a video coming up about this. There's some lesser expensive guitars in my collection that I like because they're perfect for when I don't want to take my number one out to a place or have it sit in the car on a hot day. You know, like I don't care if I leave a $200 guitar in my car when it's hot or cold or whatever, you know, like just doesn't bother me. I couldn't care less. If I'm at a place where I don't want to leave it on its own, you know, that's another big thing too. There's that sort of side of stuff. I don't want to get stolen. So I take these cheaper ones. So I'm going to have a couple of inexpensive guitars in my collection, but I've definitely got to get rid of some amps. If I don't have them all on the floor fitting against this wall, then they're throughout the rest of my little place here. So
just looking behind you, I don't think that Marshall's going to go anywhere.
No. So the two that definitely won't go anywhere, the Marshall and the Fender Blues Deluxe. I love those things. They're pretty much the two that I love. I actually really like the Marshall 2x12 box. And while I'm not going to be probably gigging with it a lot, I can use it with the different amp heads that I have or they come in. And I look at it 2 ways now. I'm looking at it as like a musician with the things that I use when I play live. And then I'm looking at it from the YouTube perspective where if I'm playing a $100 guitar into a $1,000 amp, people go, oh, well, you know, that's not fair in a way because most people who are buying that guitar won't have a $1,000 amp on the most part, right? So
that's a good point. Yeah,
I get that. So now what I'm doing is using, you know, the Joyo amplifiers or whatever with inexpensive guitars, or I've even profiled them on the Kemper. So I'm using like that recorded sound for less expensive stuff. So I kind of got to keep some of it for videos, but yeah, the stuff that I'm not using live, I'm definitely going to have to downsize pretty soon. I just got too much stuff. I hate feeling cluttered with it. I don't want, it's useless. If I'm not using it, it goes. It's always been my motto too. Usually like if I don't use something for a certain period of time, then I got to get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like, you know, any guitar that I have, it's a guitar that I'm going to gig with.
Yeah.
And if it's never going to get gigged, it's gone. What's the point? You know, guitars are going to be played, right? They're not furniture. You know what I mean?
I had this exact conversation with Rick about a year ago. I said, why did you buy 5 Telecasters? Like, you only ever play 2, like mostly. Like, and he might play one of the other ones every now and then, but he always tends to go for the same ones. And just last week when we were shooting some videos here, and he's finally bought some different stuff. Like, he bought that Framus with the P90s, and he bought a PRS with 2 humbuckers or whatever.
Yeah, I saw those.
So he's got alternatives. And now he's like, oh yeah, I really don't need like all of those other tallies, and they're not getting used. And he's got a whole lot of great amps that have never seen daylight in the last sort of 2 years. So we're both kind of decided just to start moving things along and keeping it simple, because it's easy to get caught up in the gear.
Oh yeah,
it's not so easy to put time and effort into shaping your sound or improving your playing. It's easy to go buy something if you think that's going to make the difference in the journey. But realistically, I've played enough stuff now to know that I can pretty much get my sound out of anything.
Right.
Like it almost doesn't matter. So focus more on, on this other stuff. I mean, gear does obviously help a lot of the time too, to get a certain sound if you don't have it. It takes time to work out what you like as well and all that kind of stuff if you're starting out. But yeah, you just don't need walls of gear. It will almost hinder your development in a way, because you'll always be tweaking stuff. And
yeah,
that's why I think digital modeling amps that connect to a mobile phone is like the worst thing in the world, because you're tweaking your amp on your phone, and then you'll get a message, and it's easy to get distracted. If you're gonna, anyway, that's
I totally like it. And there's only so many hours in a day, right? And if you're taking all that time to tweak and this and that, like, you're taking time away from you actually playing, and the thing is with me, like when I buy something, like if I'm going to buy it, I got to use it, and I got, and I got to spend the time with it and make sure that I'm going to use it, like, I don't know if you can see behind me, but I've got a Hughes and Kettner Tubemeister 36-watt head.
Yeah.
Okay, I gig with that thing. That thing has seen a lot of shows, right? And it sounds great, and it sounds great through the cab. So everything has to justify itself. That justifies itself. If I'm playing a smaller place, then I take the DSL. That justifies itself. You know what I mean? It all has to, the most recent thing I bought. I don't know if have you ever played around with the EP booster?
Yeah. I've used them before. Actually, I think I had one in my cupboard for a while, unbeknownst to me. But yeah, they're pretty cool. I've never really used them live though. I've just never been in that position. I should probably give it a go at some point. I think I've got a clone of one or something. It's not like the legit one, but it's like it's the exact circuit basically. So
what I use that for is probably not what it was designed for. I use that at the end of my chain, and it's on all the time. And,
okay, cool.
And you know what? If you've got one, Shane, try this out. If you get a minute, just pop this thing in at the end of your chain, turn it on. Don't even turn it, like turn the knob all the way down, and just turn the thing on. And the best way to describe it is it's like you're taking a blanket off the amp. It just comes to life. It will color your tone, but in a positive way. So if you're a purist, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just whatever sounds good works.
Exactly. If you're like, so if you're of that mindset, give it a shot. It sounds great. I mean, as a boost and everything else, it probably works great too. Like I did a video the other day. I mean, my videos aren't, up to, your standards, but I went through and I cranked it from like 0 to full, and it'll overdrive nice too once you get it past 12 o'clock, right? So it can be used for that as well. It's a nice little overdrive too. It's not it doesn't get super gainy. It's just like a nice crunch, right? But yeah, but I don't want it for that. Just literally at the end of the chain, and I just turn that thing on, and it just sings. It just makes everything sing.
It sounds like it's just a EQ. I mean, you can't get the same results by walking over to your amp and cranking up the treble, or
no, it's different.
Okay, oh cool. Oh, good stuff. Must be like a sonic maximizer or something.
Something like that. It kind of fattens everything up. You know what I mean? It makes every note just a little thicker. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, cool.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense. That's good. Cool.
It's hard to describe. I'm Sucking Wind is asking what the DSL cost. Well, a DSL in Canada, a brand new one is just under $1,000. I don't know what it is in a DSL 40 specifically.
It's just over that, I think.
Oh, wow.
Let me just double check. It's been ages since I had mine for a while. Let me just have a look. I'm going to find an Australian website. Yeah, I can't recall off the top of my head, but they're probably around $1,000.
Yeah.
You might, yeah. Why can't I find any?
I know that because I had a problem with this one. I was able to fix it, but I was looking at buying the new one because the new one is a little better than that one. It's got some more features on it and stuff, but I couldn't justify paying $1,000. I just no.
No, fair enough.
Oh, see ya. Amanda's leaving. See ya, Amanda. Have a good evening.
Cool.
Oh, Todd Flowers is saying that what I described for the EP booster. He says the sweet cream. The sweet cream isn't that is that a Tone City? Yeah, that name rings a bell. It's a Tone City pedal.
They're good pedals.
I had it. Yeah, man. That Tone. I talked about this on the last show, but I learned about Tone City was from watching your videos. I think you did every pedal they have, didn't you, at one point?
Yeah, I bought a lot of them at one point to try to sort of resell them here.
Yeah.
That I was going through, like, when I first left my job, I panicked. I was like, all right, so I got to start thinking, about how to make ends meet a little easier. So I started importing stock, and Tone City were one of the companies that I actually bought stuff to resell it. But man, that I've said this on a number of times too. They make good products, but they have horrible service. So if you buy one of those pedals, make sure wherever you get it from that you can actually have it exchanged if something goes wrong, because they owed me a few pedals in the end, and they didn't follow through with it. So yeah, I quit all of that a while back anyway. But yeah.
So you want to hear some that? So here we are, you in Australia and me in Canada, paying all this money for gear, and Rick Hefner pops in and says that you can get $499 US for a Marshall.
What, for a new Marshall? Wow. Yeah, I just saw them come up as 1,200 here in Australia. Look, that would be the retail price. I'm sure you get it for less, but
it's still roughly half of what we pay.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy.
Insane. Hey, Buck Leslie's here. So, EVH Eric, EVH and Gear TV Network is here. Yeah, that's awesome. Ivan Carter. Okay, I think I'm caught up.
Jamal says, I watched your old video on the 68 versus the 65 Deluxe Reverb with Rick, and now I need a 68 Deluxe Reverb. Gas Attack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it never ends. Yeah, I've had a few bouts of gas, especially around Christmas time, man, because that's when you got time on your hands, and that's when you start looking at gear.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried the Fender Meteora? I was all over that for
no.
Or so.
No, I don't think I have.
The Fender, the Parallel Universe, whatever they call it, that series that came out. I wasn't. None of them really.
Oh, that's that Strat Telly, that yellow looking thing.
Yeah, there was some.
Yeah.
There was, I don't know. I don't think it was for everybody's taste, but the one that I liked a lot was the Meteora, because the Meteora was sort of an offset, kind of like a Jaguar kind of body thing, but it basically a telly. So you had the lipstick pickup and the single coil bridge, and oh man, that thing just played so nice, and it just, when you grab a guitar and it's like you're just instantly playing it like you've owned it for years.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things, and yeah, man, that was really hard to walk away from. What made it easy was a price tag.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh man, that thing was near $2,000. If it wasn't $2,000, I mean,
I usually follow you home, those sort of guitars sometimes. So
yeah. No, and then I made the mistake of going back about a month later and picking it up again.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Begins, right? But no, I was able to walk away from that. The other one that I really, really liked was like, I'm a big Gibson guy, as you can probably tell. I love Gibson.
Yeah.
And they had the new Les Paul Juniors, double cut, and then it has now they've come out with this the new pick guard, and there was I think there's like 3 colors. There's a red, brown, and blue or something. Anyways, it just has a single P90 on it, and that thing was absolutely smoking. And that was a really, for us here, it was priced well. It was about $800.
Oh wow, that's good.
Yeah,
Cool.
that was that for to get a Gibson. I mean, it didn't have any binding on it or anything, but I mean, it was pretty stripped down, plain Jane. But man, that thing sounded really, really good. Really good guitar.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Like the trouble is a Les Paul that will play good. Okay. Not sure what that comment was, Buck Lester. If you want to ask that again. So again, if you've got questions for me or Shane, please put @intheblues or @guitar hack. Quentin James has a question for you. He's asking why you don't use your Kemper when you gig.
It's a couple of reasons. One, I don't like a lot of the PA systems we play through.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to have to bring my own. So there's that. The other thing is mine's a passive one, right? So it's not going into it's not the 400 watt output one either. So you can't power a box. And if I'm going to be taking a box that can handle 400 watts into a small venue, it makes no sense. So I don't see it. I see it as a studio tool. I don't really see it as, I would play it live if I had a rack unit for it, which is another reason I don't take it out of the house. It's just a fiddly thing to move around. I've got it all wired up for what I do here. And that's pretty much most of the reasons. I would prefer just to take either a small amp. If I play, this is the other thing too, if I'm playing direct into a PA system, which I do occasionally with pedals, I've got like amp sim pedals. I almost prefer that being on the floor than my Kemper. I don't have a rack unit for it either. So yeah, I can get a great sound out of using those, the Joyo American sound pedals or any of those pedals from that range, because they're great amp sims straight to the PA system, and
Yeah.
$30, $40. So I you know, for me to take something worth as much as the Kemper to a $100 gig and have the risk of something going wrong, no way. So under the right circumstances, I'd love to give it a go. But where I play, I don't really need it. Mostly the smallest amp, or the I can get away with any of my amps in there, like the even the Studio Pro 112 from Peavey, the small, it's like a small Bandit. That's overkill sometimes too. So to go through a PA system with a Kemper and have to worry about it, and then not have all of my effects on the floor, because if you run the Kemper as well into a PA system, there's all these variables for me. I just don't want to have to fiddle with my sound, is what I'm trying to get at. I don't have the foot switch for the Kemper either, and that's another $1,500. It's like there's no way I'm going to spend that amount of money on that. So they're great. I love the Kemper for what it does, but for me, it's a studio tool. I don't plan on taking it out too often, unless maybe I've got my own PA system with me. That'd be the only time I take it.
2 and 3 chord jams. This is a question for me. Somebody was asking about the black hollow body you used yesterday. Okay, the black hollow body that I used, it's a semi-hollow. It's that one right there. That's a Gibson ES339, which is basically a 335 that's been shrunk. It's a body size. It's just slightly larger than a Les Paul body, and I'm not a big tall guy, so 335 for me would be a little big. But yeah, it's a fantastic guitar. I highly recommend you know, a semi-hollow. It's a different animal. It just, you get some really nice tones out of it. It's much more richer, fuller sounding, I find. You know, and if you're playing in one of the bands that I was asking you earlier, if you like playing with, like, just you being the only guitar player, one of the bands I play with, I'm the only guitar player. So that thing really fills the you know, that space, so to speak. So that's why you know, that's why I have that thing. Plus, I'm a huge Alex Lifeson fan, so you got to have a semi-hollow.
Yeah, they're great, those guitars. They don't make lefties, unfortunately.
They don't make
no, they don't do them.
Oh, that's terrible, man.
Will was asking me what was the first guitar and amp that I owned, and where was my first paying gig. The first electric guitar amp I ever had was a Samick, and I had a 12-inch speaker. I think it was a 30-watt solid-state amp. I didn't know any better, you know, just to get me going. That was it. And I had a Gold Series Squire Strat. It was red, and it actually was a really nice guitar. I ended up having Texas Special pickups put in there at one point, and then I traded it in for like another Fender down the track. Probably not the smartest move, but it was a nice guitar. It was a really nice guitar. But the first amp that really made me sound better, I ended up with a Yorkville Traynor. It was a YCV40. I inherited a few grand, like maybe when I was, I don't know, 20 or 19 or something. And I ended up buying an acoustic guitar, and I bought, which was a Maton, which was an Australian-made guitar. And I bought a Yorkville Traynor, and that's where that went. Right, so I got two things that I was into. So that was pretty much the first amp where I started to realize, wow, okay, so it's not necessarily the guitar that makes the difference in the tone. It's mostly the amp.
Yeah.
A lot of guys will buy all these different guitars trying to change their sound or trying to improve their sound when the X factor is the amp. You get a good amp, you can plug any guitar into that amp and it's going to sound good. I don't care if it's a $60, you know, GearBest guitar or one you buy at Walmart or wherever you live. That guitar, as long as it plays okay, will sound great in a good amp, you know. And that's when I just went, oh wow, okay, so this is how you get a good sound. So that was my first good combination of stuff. And I also ended up with an Epiphone .335 not long after that. And that was one of the best guitar tones I ever had with the Traynor. That was like, I always talk about these like special combinations of gear, you know, where you can just plug in and you can go. I've had certain things over the years that have just worked extremely well, but one of my best tones ever, even if I listen to it now and I've got video of it from my first gigs, some of the best tone I had was that Epiphone into the Yorkville. But when I went to a Strat and the Yorkville, it didn't work so good. But the Strat and the Fender thing worked for me. So, it's weird. The tone search just keeps on going. But I'm pretty happy with my sound now anyway. Like, you know, it's what it is. You sort of get used to it in the end. Showman
Blues has got a question for you and me, I guess. He says it has the Bandit red stripe and he loves it. He says, I need a Fender small. They make a good small tube amp with effects or modeling.
Yeah, if you want a small one, get the Champ XD, I think it's called. That would be my choice. It's a great little combo. They also make a head in a box, or they used to. I think that might have been discontinued. But it's like a tube or valve power section, and then you've got a really nice clean channel. And then you've got different voicings you can use for the dirt, and they're really great. I think it's like one of my top videos over the last 10 years. It's one of those videos that just keeps getting hits. And justifiably they're good amps too. So that would be my choice for something small that will give you like the Fender sort of sound. Especially with modeling, like if you want a valve one, that would be the way to go. If you don't want that, I played the new Champion 50 XL, I think it's called. I hope that's the right model number. I get confused with these things sometimes, but it's the latest Champion solid state amp that Fender released. Not loud enough to gig with, but great for home use as well. It's not overly loud on the clean channel. It's actually kind of underpowered on the clean channel, but you get that Fender tone, good for pedals. You can probably boost it louder with running different effects into it, but the drive channel has delays and reverbs and all that kind of stuff, and that would be a really good choice too. So, but not loud enough to gig with. I had it cranked in the shop, but it doesn't look like he's looking for that anyway. So that would be my two choices.
Yeah, I think he's just talking about home. Broxel's here. Hey, Broxel, how are you? Okay, Brian Fingerless, thanks for popping in. Brian Fingerless is taking off.
Cool.
Sean Zimmerman is here. Hey, Sean. How are you? Hand 36 solo. Okay, I'm just making sure we're catching up with everyone here. Thrash Metal. Nice to see you.
Todd Flowers just said they still do make the head versions of the Champ XDs. So I'll just throw that out there. Cool.
Yeah. Anime VH is here. Gussie Wells. Yeah, so again, if anyone's got questions so that I can see them quickly at In the Blues for you or at Guitar Hack for myself, so we can check those. How you doing with time, Shane?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah. So getting back to the whole head and cab thing, I think like I've gotten to a point where I think I prefer the idea of a head and cab just for the convenience of it being getting like for example with a 212 cab. I mean, if I had a 212 combo, like that would weigh a freaking ton, you know.
Yeah,
And,
they do.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I had believe this. I had a 410 combo amp.
Hmm.
Do you remember the PV Classic 50?
They're unbelievably good amps.
Yes, but they also
Heavy as nobody's business.
right?
Yeah, they do. That's why I went for a super reverb in the end. Was they're way lighter than the PV Classic 50s. Classic. Yeah, is it Classic 50? Is that what it is? A Classic 50 410?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a
Yeah, they're brutal.
There was, I think, a 212 and a 410 version. It sounded great, but man, it was a monster. It was an absolute monster.
The best clean tone I ever heard in a live mix was one of those amps cranked. The 410 PV. Man, it was just. The next day I went to check them out because I was so blown away by how it sounded.
Right.
And then I went to lift it up and I was like, there's no way I'm buying this thing.
Yeah.
It weighed way more than my old DeVille 212 and they weren't light.
Yeah.
But yeah, compared to, and the Super Reverb was way lighter than in the end than the PVs are just bricks. You know, I'm sure they just pack bricks in the bottom of those amps and they ship them out.
No, getting that thing in and out of my basement was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
and then trying to throw that in and out of a car. No.
I think Rick's asked a couple times, what about the PV XXL solid state 2x12 amp? I haven't actually tried that one, mate. I've tried lots of PV amps over the years, but I don't think I've tried that. I think it's an 80s or 90s, maybe 80s amp, 212, probably 200 watts. From I think it's either that or another one called the what was it called? It was called the I don't know. It was the paint peeler. You basically turn them up and they peel the paint off the walls, man. Those things were brutal. The Juice, maybe I want to go with that name. Maybe the Juice. It was a DE, like not juice as in orange juice, but you know. Those things were loud. So I haven't actually played that one before, but yeah.
Bobby Clipper's here. Hey, Bobby, how are you? Cool. Yeah, so I just love the idea of like I got a pretty nice cab there, and just popping another head on it. It's a whole new thing, you know. It's transporting it, and the 212 cab is not heavy at all. I don't find it heavy, anyways. It's pretty.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's kind of the best way to go for a couple of reasons. Like, although it's slightly less convenient to have, like, you can't always get into the gig with your guitar or two guitars, your pedal board, and your amp, cab. Yeah. You know, you got to do 2 trips. So that's the one thing that sucks sometimes. But the great thing about buying, just using different heads with cabs is they don't take up as much room. You know, it's much easier to. It is easier to sort of store and to just take whatever you need it to the gig too. You're not sort of like, oh, well, I have to use this amp. It's my only loud one. You got the same cab nearly all the time, or maybe a single 12 and a 212 or something like that. It's a good way to go. One of my friends, Byron, is going to lend me his Supersonic 60 head soon coming up, and I love those amps. I used to have a combo, unreal. I want to test it out with the Marshall 212 at one point. That's going to be an easier thing to get around than my DSL. The DSL weighs a ton, especially when I upgraded the speaker. It feels a lot heavier now too.
What have you got in that right now?
What speaker?
Yeah,
it's an Eminence Tonka.
Oh, that's okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's one of their high headroom, really efficient and loud speakers in it. it's great. You know, the bigger the magnet, generally the better.
How loud are you able to go?
I pretty loud. I run the masters on the output set. I don't know if your amp's the same as mine, but it's got like the output master volumes as well. So I run them on 10. So I have them all the way up, and then I have the channel volumes up at about 1 o'clock, maybe 2 o'clock. Okay. So it's pretty loud.
Yeah.
And that's only at one place though. I can't really do that everywhere. There's certain gigs where that I run it on 20 watts because I'm going to kill everybody if I do that at some of these places we play at. So
like that's the frustrating thing is a lot of times I can't really play loud. And if you can't, there's sort of a threshold where, you know, the amp doesn't come to life until you get it up to, you know, a certain volume.
Yeah.
Right? And that's super frustrating sometimes in some of the places I play. And usually usually the way it goes is this, you know, like you start and then it's like that's when you're at your quietest. And then over the course of the night, you know, you kind of sneak a little volume here and there, and then all of a sudden it just kicks in. Okay, now it's kicking, right? And then then it sounds good, right? But yeah, it's that I'm actually debating because I mean that 36 watt head is overkill for most of the places I play because I mean 36 tube power is a lot of that it's loud.
Yeah, it's loud. Yeah,
and then I got a 50 watt, which is even louder, right? So I was actually thinking because I know the new Marshall line, the CR line, is, you know, they're good amps, and I was actually I'm still kind of again with the gas thing, right? Thinking about getting the 20 watt head because 20 watt at 2 power is more than enough.
The only problem you get you play on the clean channel mostly, right?
It would be same thing. I'd set it up on the verge of overdrive and throw pedals in front of it. That's
the problem you have with the 20 watt amp. It's a great little amp, but there's only two. You got the ultra gain channel from memory, which is the sort of thrashy sort of
that's the one
metal
I'll
channel. Yeah, me either, right? And you've got the clean channel. I don't think it has a classic crunch channel. It says kind of like classic crunch, but really? I think it's mostly clean. So just double check that. I could be wrong, but I don't recall it having the in between channel.
I love like my favorite tone out of that. Like if I just plug into the amp is the crunch.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love the crunch. I don't. Yeah, those what ultra. But I don't. I can count on one hand the number of times I've hit that.
One of the cool things about these new Marshall amps is they've got a power attenuator, so I can run it at 20 watts. The standby is now 40 or run it at 20. That's how you turn it on. So maybe they go.
Your internet is. You're kind of coming in and out a little bit.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I know it's not your fault, man. It is what it is. No, you know, but don't you find that
sorry, my computer's downloading updates as I'm talking. So there we go.
That's what it is.
Sorry about that. Let me cancel this.
Let me ask you this. Do you find with power soaks that sometimes it just kind of makes the amp sound crappy? Like it doesn't sound as rich?
Oh, absolutely. You're losing you're losing the punch.
Yeah, you know, and you know, because I've got the power soak. Well, it's that triode pentode switch, which is the same thing on the back of the DSL, and I can go as low as 1 watt on the Origin. I can go 110 or 50.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I can do the same thing with the Hughes and Kettner. I can go to 18. I think 18 and 5 and 1, something like that, on that one as well. But as soon as you start to like it, I find even at lower volume, I would rather go lower volume on full power than go power soak and turn it up. I think it just sounds better, you know, because it's like you're zapping part of the, you know, part of the punch or the fullness or the richness, whatever you want to call it, of the amp. This doesn't sound as good.
No, you're right. I got to be honest too. Like I think the 20 watt mode on the Marshall is nowhere near as nice to play as the 40 watt mode. It's not even close.
It's instantly noticeable. Yeah.
I've accidentally switched it to 20 watts when I started playing, and I was like, what the hell's wrong with my stuff?
Yeah, I've done the same thing.
I'm like, I'm cranking it up. I've got it dimed. I'm like, hang on, something's not right. Oh yeah, click. Oh, okay, now we're in business.
You know,
You get that big growl of the bottom end comes back, and yeah, it's not even close.
You're gonna laugh, but you know what? That's happened to me, and I've been, you know, and I'm like, why does this thing sound like crap? And I'm like playing with it. So you know what I did? I actually put a piece of tape across the back so I can't switch it.
Oh, that's a good idea. There you go. Cool.
Yeah, because what happens is you throw it in the back of the car, right? And then it switches, you know, just when you place it down sometimes. Like
yeah.
You know what I mean? And you don't realize it, and then you get to the gig and you plug it in and you're like, what the hell happened? This thing sounded great yesterday, right?
yeah.
You know, so what I did, it's like, man, it's like, you know, I got a piece of electrical tape and I put it on there super tight so you can't flip it back.
That's a really cool idea. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, because I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. Well, we've been going for an hour and a half. So I don't know, another 5-10, and then we'll.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Conan is saying, have we tried the Harley Benton 212 with the Celestion speakers in them? I didn't even know they made a box like that until about, I don't know, a few days ago. So I haven't tried it. I think they make like a very similar cab to the Marshall 2x12 kind of vibe. But yeah, I haven't tried it. So I'm sure it'll be fine.
Speaking of Harley Bentons, like this, I don't know. Depending on who it is, some people will, you know, because a lot of people are reviewing Harley Bentons, you know, and I don't know. Depending on who you talk to, some people will tell you, "Oh, it's great," you know, it's you wouldn't know it, you know, that it costs what it costs and this and that and whatever, and almost saying it's almost like on par with, you know, more expensive guitar and this and that. Because you know, I've thought about the Harley Benton thing like that. Like I'm a sucker for a butterscotch telly, right?
Yep.
You know, but to go out and buy a butterscotch telly, like they're, you know, I mean, ever since Fender did that thing where they, you know, got rid of the standards and let's make it an elite, let's make it like the prices just went through the roof, you know, and I still like the idea of a butterscotch telly. So I was toying with the, you know, the whole idea of the Harley Benton. To get them into Canada though, it will still cost me a fair bit of money just for the shipping thing, right?
It's about $80, I think, something like that.
$80 for shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got them. What do you think?
I think, with the exception of how the toggle switch feels on that guitar, it's as close to a Baja Tally in terms of neck shape and feel as you're going to get for under $1,000. It's really good. You know, when I first met the guy from Toman, my first question was, how many of these guys are on your books, right? Like, no, seriously, Rick was standing right next to me. I said to him, like, I'm glad these are here because I've seen so much hype. I want to know how much of this is paid hype. And I've said that on podcasts before. Like, it's something like the Harley Benton Club or something where there is one guy that works for them, right?
Yeah.
But it's in a slightly different capacity. So, yeah, we were like, man, these are really good. Rick couldn't stop playing one of them, right? And that's that one that we did the video of with the P90s that looks like my PRS.
Like a PRS, yeah.
The finish on that is as nice or better, subjective to what you like, to my PRS SE. Like, it's as nice, right? So everything about it feels, I can't play it. Obviously, it's a right-handed guitar, but I know from just looking at it and picking it up and sort of assessing it how great it is. It's awesome. So I would almost put my reputation on the line to say, look, if you didn't like it, I'd buy it off you, because for the price they're asking for those tallies, it's crazy good, man. It is crazy good. And I thought it was internet hype. I don't get paid for my reviews on any of their guitars or anything like that. So, and I listed the pros and cons, right? So a couple of my cons were the finish wasn't perfect on the fret edges. It didn't matter in the end because I relicked it. But I wouldn't care either way. But these were things that are probably worth pointing out. And the toggles, the pickup selection switch on inexpensive guitars never feels as good as, like, you know, your top end guitars. It's just, they don't. But it's an easy $30, $40 fix, right? It won't cost you anything.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of those guitars now that I've actually had them in my possession, I'm sure, and I almost guarantee you're as skeptical as I was for years about these guitars. I avoided them because I was like, I'm sure they're just cheap crap, and people are putting all this positive promo out on them because they're on the books. And then I found out, no, they're not. Most of them, nearly all of them, except for one guy, wasn't on the books, right? So
you mentioned you mentioned that the neck was like a Baja, so it's a thick neck, then, is it?
Yeah, it's a 50s profile neck.
Oh, okay, right off the bat, I'm disqualified. I can't.
Oh, I like the big necks. Okay.
Like every these guitars and all the ones I've got, it's always 60 slim taper. 60.
All right. So I'll also mention, from what I understand, there's plenty of different options. This was just the one that I was sent.
Oh, okay. There's options. Okay.
Yeah. So this is their biggest selling guitar. It's not a super fat baseball bat neck, right? But it's not a modern C. If you like your modern C necks, you won't like the neck on the one that I've got. It's okay, a fatter neck.
Here's a question, because I'm sure a Strat neck. How would it compare to a Strat neck?
It's bigger than, say, a standard Mexican made one. It's fatter than that, but it's very similar to my 52 reissue in terms of its neck shape and size.
I've played that neck,
and they're not baseball bat fat, but they're not really thin. They're nice and comfortable.
Yeah, let's see. But for me, Shane, I played the 52s, and I don't get along with those necks. So it would have to be
cool.
a smaller neck. I mean, my hands are ridiculous, so I'm all palm and no fingers. So I need all the help I can get, man. Yeah.
Todd Flowers just said, I bought the new album by Mark Knopfler down the road, wherever. Nobody does that. Yeah, you recommend it. Thanks. I mentioned this Mark Knopfler's new album on my live stream yesterday, and
yeah,
I'm like in love with one of those songs, man. It's great. So that's cool.
Ed Dana has a question about the Fender Blues Junior for In the Blues, but I don't. Where's that question, Jason?
I must have missed that as well. Let me go back up. Okay.
See it?
He just says, "What about the Blues Junior?" I'm not sure what that is in context to. I mean, they're good little amps. I think your best bet usually, unless you really love like the Tweed Tolex, or if you love the limited editions that come out with the fancy colors, is just to buy the bog standard one, and then just replace the speaker with something else if you need to. A lot of people like the stock speaker too. In terms of the latest generation, though, the version 4s, their stock speaker is actually pretty good. You might not even need to be swapping it out. So if you buy an older generation one, like a 3, I've owned those, or prior versions, my instinct is to probably swap the speaker out. In a live mix, they do struggle to some extent. Sometimes if you're mic'd up, they're going to be loud enough. You get enough stage sort of volume, but they're not loud enough to really cut a room like a Marshall or a 40 watt amp. It's just not even.
Yeah, close. I was gonna. Would you say that's a good enough or loud enough gigging amp, a Blues Junior?
Look, it depends on everyone's circumstance, but if you're mic'd up, it is, because there's pros that use them on stage.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up. No,
I don't think so.
Not for where I play anyway. Blues Juniors aren't loud enough. They always struggle. Yeah,
that's the criticism, that because I know someone that had a Blues Junior, and yeah, gigging. I mean, the thing was dying.
Yeah, I've had a couple of them over the years. I bought one, sold one, bought another one, and I just don't feel they throw enough wind. They're plenty loud for home, like they're too loud for home, but they're not loud enough to really get over a drummer, or maybe loud enough to sort of cut a mix in a big room, is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, or if you have a second guitar player, you're gonna get buried.
Yeah, totally.
Jim's Corner, how are you? Lando 27 Music, hey man, how's it going?
Hey, cool.
Hey, something I was gonna say now, and it's escaped me. Joys of getting older. Okay, yeah. So I think we're gonna, at this point, I hate to do this because Jim's Corner is saying, "Hey, I just made a live stream and we got the
No. Didn't you say earlier, once he turns up, we have to end the stream?
That's it. Yeah. We get our marching orders early. Yeah. So so I think we're gonna wrap it up here. So Shane, anything you wanted to mention? Any upcoming things you got going on?
No, not really. No, just stay tuned. I got an interesting video hopefully going up when NAM begins. Not about NAM, but right around that time. So stay tuned for that one. I'm fingers crossed it will might go out to a few people, that video. I think I've put a bit of work into it, so we'll see how it goes.
Cool. Cool.
I don't want to give it away because the premise of it's helpful, and hopefully it will appeal to a lot of people that like certain guitars. Let's just put it that way. Cool. But no, that's about it, mate. Thanks again for having me on. Sorry about the other day too. I ended up going down the coast, but I had stuff I had to do in the morning, and then I had like this really small window of time. So
the thing is, I mean, you book these things in advance, and between that time and the actual time you do it, you never know what's going to come up, right? So
yeah, that's it.
So I just appreciate you making the effort to come back and doing it again, man. This is a pleasure. Love having you on.
No worries. No, it was good.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank everybody for popping in the chat and asking some fantastic questions. Thank you all so much. For myself, check out Saturday night at 11 p.m. I will be on with the Tone King.
Oh, wicked. Cool.
Yeah. And Jason Wade is going to be joining us as well. So check that out Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time.
What time is it there for you now?
Right now, Shane, it is 8:12.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's a couple of hours time. All right, easy. I'll see you there, all being well.
Yeah, you're like a day and a half ahead of me or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, I usually do this little speech at the end of my shows. Everybody, if you haven't subbed to other people in the chat, please do. We've got some fantastic people here. Let's keep growing this community. Let's keep it a happy, positive place. And hope everybody has a great evening, and hopefully we'll see you all on Saturday night with the Tone King. Cheers, everybody.
Cool. See you guys.
Take care.